What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope you had a great Christmas. I do. I can't prove that you did. Theoretically, some of you had to have had bad Christmases. But that's not on us. Me wishing you a very good post-Christmas should be the start of something better if you didn't have a good one. Again, cannot hold us legally responsible if you did not have a good Christmas. Nonetheless, very happy to see you here. And I'm also very happy to see our good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
What's going on, Raf? It's great to be here. I had a great Christmas. Merry Xmas, everybody out there. Grappling a little slow right now, but I got a few things I want to talk about. So, and a very controversial thing that I think we both know about that I can't wait to chat about today, Raf. So I'm glad to be here.
Very controversial. Controversy is essentially the name of this show. So you may notice a black hole over here. That's the black hole of my heart. Nope, not over here. We'll switch it on over to the other one, which other goon, unfortunately not here today, had a thing come up at the very last second, but we wish him well. I think he had a good Christmas. He has been very entertaining in terms of his responses to certain things, which you mentioned some controversy, and I don't want to get too far into it because it's on the board, but there was a little bit of inner bullpen competition. I would ask you this. What has been your purview of the entire running the gauntlet bracket? Like, what have you learned just from watching that, sir?
What I've learned is that you put a lot of work into this. I'm actually extremely damn, man, I'm looking at everything and I'm like, this is actually a lot of work. So kudos to you on that, for real though. Number two, Kevin and I'm just going to say it, we're pretty hot out there when it comes to getting votes. I think this was the election with the most amount of votes in history. So it's pretty big. I don't know if anyone else got that in the first round. So I'm proud of that. There's some other things to say later, but that was something that I noticed. And outside of that, some of the guys I thought were going to move on have moved on. So I'm pretty good at predicting.
So you're not Travis Thomas in my DMs asking, how did this happen?
Listen, one thing I've learned about Travis is he's very sensitive. You can't trade him. You can't crack a joke. You better vote for him because he writes your name down. He'll come to you. He'll bring it up. He remembers.
It's just a couple people were like, I'd like to know how these results happen. I was like, you didn't get enough votes. That's really what it came down to. And I think it's weird because I like all of you, so I invited you all on. And I put you all in the tournament. So I don't necessarily have a favorite here. It's just I seeded them a certain way. I thought things would happen. There's been a couple small surprises. But before we go to the board and address it as a topic, because there's a subtopic throughout it, I would like to address one thing here, and I've already yelled at Kevin about this. I think it's remarkable that you and Kevin broke records and got the most interest for anybody. Combined, you guys probably beat a number of other participants. Would you try doing that for this show? Because y'all don't break any records plugging this show. Now, granted, you do a lot of co-authoring, but it just showed me how lazy the both of you are as a whole. Because to me, I was like, oh, this is impressive. And I thought, all right, they got 50 people each to vote for them. And then I thought, wait, these motherfuckers are not doing that for the actual show, which matters perhaps more than a wonderful side project of another part of the Grappling Hour. So, sir, does this seem to indicate that maybe you and Kevin are soft on promotions for the Bullpen?
I would say it indicates two things, and that indeed is one of them. The the other thing it indicates is just how petty Kevin and I are, and that we literally put so much effort into trying to get more votes. But on top of that, you are right. That's going to be a 2025 goal. That's I'm going to have to take myself and put myself in the back this time and go, no, it's not about rocking the votes for you, buddy. Yeah, man, I'll do it. You're right.
It's just
There's a lot I could be doing.
There's a lot of times when I think, I want the show to be bigger. I've got these plans. We'll see what we can do. It'd be nice. We're not all Craig Jones here. We probably don't have any pool. And then you remember, Tim has a gym. All of those people should be subscribed. Kevin ransacks poor white belts on a regular basis. He should have pool. And then collectively, you saw people campaigning for the both of you going like, hey guys, Tim really needs this. Let's go out there. And I go, where are these armies been? When I say brand new episode of the Bullpen this Friday, shit hasn't changed. The times might, but Friday, even on a fucking holiday week, we're here. So
yeah,
it just brought out a side of me that as I saw you guys approach 300 votes together, I go, this is vindictive. This is what this is. This is now an exercise in fun that turned very aggressively angry at me. And it felt like it was directed only at me. Because clearly the two of you were like, that's okay. It's no big deal. So I'm just sitting there on Christmas looking over results and going, I should murder these two. But nonetheless, we should probably go to the first topic because this will extend and give you a rare opportunity to talk about something that your opponent for the ballots will not be able to do. Tim, in the Running the Gauntlet bracket, you did come up short. In your public vote, you did let people know you thought something was amiss or something was awry. So I'd like to give you the floor to air your grievances, as it is truly a Festivus tradition. Sir, what have you as the issues for this, and what skepticism do you have?
Well, I'm skeptical of Kevin's vote total, and I'm skeptical of the way his votes have come in. Okay, I'll just say that. I seriously doubt Kevin knows 300 people that like him enough to vote for him, first of all. Okay. So that's already like, I know something's off right there. The other thing is, all his votes came in at night, both nights in a row. He had 2 nights. It was like all the votes came in overnight, and then I check and I'm like, dang. And so then I got to do another wave of outreach. And I've gone from my circle of friends. Now I'm talking to my kids, and I'm like, Nate, tell these high school wrestler kids to go out there and vote for me, dude, because they know who I'm here. They see me, like they know what's up. Tell them, dude. So I got that second wave, and I was like, yeah, I passed him in the numbers, and I'm like, yes. And then magically, overnight, Kevin generated like 75 votes. I'm like, where'd he get it from? That's the thing. Russian bots. Okay, perhaps New Jersey drones. That's all I got to say. Kevin generated those votes from somewhere. I got the My Pillow guy looking into it, but I'm going to support him, but I just have to say this to Elijah Dorsey, who's going up against him in the next round. You better watch everything. You better put these votes on the blockchain because you can't trust Kevin. I'm telling you, you can't trust him. But I'm going to acquiesce. There'll be no January 6th on my part. No insurrection.
So you do realize that sometimes when the votes come in from the West Coast, it does take a little bit of time. I guess you're just right in the assumption, how did Kevin get the West Coast bump on the East Coast? That's probably what
I'm saying.
To. I will be honest, I was impressed, and then I saw the amount of times the post was shared. And it was into the region of 400. Now, one thing you're not considering here, Tim, is that you guys didn't get 400 votes total. So that meant that it was sent to more people than voted, which checks out 100%. and that includes group chats. But number 2, Kevin did bring up a very good point, which was that, hey man, I don't know if Tim realizes this, but I sent that out to a lot of people, and I think it ended up working towards Tim's favor at a certain point because my enemies grew stronger and realized, oh, I should vote against him. And then my friends realized I should vote against him as well. So some of them did backfire in his face when he goes, how did Tim go up? Wait, I literally just sent this to 20 people, and Tim got more of those votes. How did that happen? So I think both of you learned some valuable lessons. Let me say this. And it says, Kevin got his vote from the ladies at Cheetah's, Spearmint Rhino, and the Gold Club. You know, I got to say, the Gold Club is a new one. Cheetah's and Spearmint Rhino, those definitely stick out. And it says all night folk. I mean, Kevin does stay up late for whatever reasons. Unclear. But, Tim, so how do you see this playing out right now? We have some finalists, semifinalists that are going to be announced very soon. But from your perspective, who do you expect to see in the Final Four?
Let me look at what the bracket's at right now. Let me see here, because I think we had the bracket up last week.
We did, and I could pull it up, but that just seems like more work. So
no, I got it right here. I got it right here. Okay, so Dorsey beat Wojcik, which I was a little surprised at that because I figured, you know, Chris is like an internet guy, you know, he blogs and he's just a guy. I think he's a bunch of people that follow him want to vote for him, but maybe not. Totally shocking and a debacle that Kevin Sherrill moved past Tim Freeman, but we already talked about that. What happened with Fernando Padilla and Cam Hurd? I think I picked Hurd to slide forward.
So Cam did go, and Cam campaigned fairly aggressively. So that was impressive. I would say this, though. Fernando Padilla definitely is a UFC fighter that's awesome. I just didn't know what it was going to come down to. Cam shook him down 85% to 15.
Wow. I think I would say my Final Four predictions is we're probably going to see the Jovkij BJJ dude in the Final Four. I believe he moved on. He beat Happy Rolling in his first part. And then I think we're going to see Paul Ardilla because nobody's going to – eventually he's going to turn to lawfare and nobody's going to be able to beat him in the election. So I think he's a strong candidate. I think Kevin Sherrill is like a young John Kerry. I think we're going to see him move forward. Oh, wow. He'll probably always just be a VP. But, yeah, I think we'll see those guys. Probably Jovkij is going to win this. Probably. That'd be my bet.
Okay, good to know. So I am glad that we had you guys do that. It was a good experiment. I think you mentioned some surprises. I'm still surprised on a regular basis by this because even though I put these out, you know, you could very quickly understand who this really mattered to. And I would say this, I think Kevin is in real danger of getting eliminated here, and I'm not sure he's ready for that. So I think that you need to be ready to console him should he not beat Elijah Dorsey here in this next round.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know if I'm at that level yet. I don't think if I have that much grace to give to Kevin right now, I'm still hurting from my own wounds of being cheated, but I'll see what I can do.
The reason I say this, Tim, is because of the following. It will be that the people who got the most votes didn't go forward in 2 seconds. So the part of me that was kind of like seeing Kevin go, I think I'm not winning this one. He's just kind of given in. Like, this is a dude who's losing on points, and there's 30 seconds, and just kind of is accepting his fate. And
right.
He's not going as aggressively at Elijah as he did against you. So it is a particular thing to find here. So anyway, I would say this. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is, and this is one that you brought up, and I'm not quite sure where exactly we are going on this, but you mentioned here that Gordon Ryan has a giant trophy background, little furniture fixture, a trophy case, if you would, and you ask the question, what is he missing here? So I'll go ahead and let you kind of introduce your thoughts on this topic and what exactly we are bringing up on this one.
Well, I mean, I think you can go about it two ways. I did see this image of him. I think it was on Instagram. I think I may have seen a real image, and then I think I may have seen like an AI generated image, because some of it kind of looked AI-ish to me, to be honest with you. But I was looking at all these trophies, and I'm like, man, this guy has accomplished so much, but there still feels like there's something about him that he's like, I'm not completed yet. I'm like looking at those trophies and all these, like, man, what trophy could we give him that would complete his collection, that would just, you would look at it and you'd be like, now it's complete. Like, what would that trophy be? So I wanted to throw that question out there to the gang and see, like, okay, maybe it's something serious, maybe it's something satirical. Of course, I'm not coming at this stuff from a super serious standpoint, but that was pretty much how I was looking at it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to take it seriously. I feel like he'll never win an NBA championship, a Super Bowl ring, a Stanley Cup. I feel I'm pretty secure on those. A World Cup. And you know what's great is, the weird part about this trophy case is it's very impressive, but it does get weird that when you start coming up with what doesn't Gordon have, that you can already hear him in your head explaining why it doesn't matter. Because you can't just not have nice things with Gordon. It's like, oh no, actually I didn't want to win the Stanley Cup because I didn't like a guy named Stanley once, and why would I ever want to win one of his cups? So I thought about that. But the real answer, honestly, Tim, I think, is that he won't have a Craig Jones Invitational championship in there. And honestly,
that's a good one.
The one thing that is missing from there that will probably exceed ADCC very, very soon, I would tell you this. The reason I bring that one in particular up is because of this reason, Tim. New Wave is apparently going to compete at CGI too. And the wording they keep saying is so, like, razor thin. Are expected to compete, likely to compete. I realize you weren't necessarily on last week's episode where you got to explain your thoughts. So I want to give you a few minutes to talk about your thoughts on CJI. What were your thoughts when they made that announcement?
I was a little surprised by the New Wave announcement, and two kind of ideas run through my head. One is like, this is Craig Jones once again, like, saying and doing things that forces their hand. Like, what if New Wave has not been in communication at all? Like, what if none of those guys are going to compete, but he's saying that, so then when they don't compete, it looks like they pulled out. Or it could just be that these guys are, like, ready to do it. Like, they don't care anymore. Maybe their connection to ADCC and that whole situation isn't as tight as it used to be. Not that that was the only reason why they didn't do it, but it seemed like for at least CGI 1 it was. But yeah, I don't know. I hope they do it. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be cool to see. But it's hard to know with Craig Jones. You never know with that guy if he's just pulling strings or if he's being real. So, but I'm stoked that CGI 2 is coming around. I think that's going to be dope.
So I do think that there is something interesting here, Tim, in that, sure, they said it's likely to happen, but all the dumb games that that they played in the past where some person was going to compete and then they did a switcheroo, or there's been allegations of the Danner Death Squad faking a match that had become part of the lore. I feel like this is one of the areas where if they did try to pull some shenanigans, like, we were in it, but now we're not. Like, people don't care now. Like, people now have money on the line where,
yeah,
if you don't want to be involved for the money hunt, then that's on you. But pretty soon you're not going to be able to say that's where the best grapple if you don't participate where the best are grappling for that $1 million. And I feel like You know what's been great is you and I and Kevin have been going through all the different clips from the year and saying, like, here are our favorites. Here's what we enjoyed. Here's what we liked. And there was one particular thing that I saw, which was, and I'll give you guys a hint who are watching now, one of my top clips of the year is going to be the fact that we started doing these editorials. And I'm going to be honest, some of these really hot takes, when you put them out there, you're not sure how they're going to stand. But I felt pretty confident that the Craig Jones Invitational would deliver at the least a compelling alternate to ADCC. And as we saw, it was the A show this year. So what's been great is watching me just go, it's going to be good. No one gives a shit. ADCC will be just fine. If you have tickets, stop complaining. Stop bitching. They'll both be great. And then we saw how people graded them, including us. And I think that a lot of those takes end up looking pretty okay, even though I did laugh at one point when I go, oh, remember at the middle of the year, we had death threats? That's how long of a year this has been. That we conveniently forgot about the time that Craig Jones just easily picked up some death threats. But we're going to move on here in a second. I want to say some hellos. I see a Merry Christmas, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Egg. A Merry Christmas to you as well. And it says, Kevin will be fine. Like a Carey, he'll just need to find a Heinz Harris or other Harris. I mean, if anybody here is truly going to live the trophy husband life, it will likely be Kevin Sherrill, because he might not work hard, but he will work hard to make that happen in his life.
Yeah, I can see that 100%, Raf. Who's the actor on Married with Children who was like Darcy's husband? That dude, he's like the
Ted
face,
McGinley,
you know, that
Steve. Yep.
That's Kevin.
That is very much Kevin. You know, I think I was watching a show called Shrinking, the one with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. And I looked up and I go, is that Steve Darcy? My wife's like, I think it is. I go, God damn. Ted McGinley getting the most Ted McGinley role there is to have. And I think he's just like pocketing like shrimp from a cocktail and just like, oh, and I go, yeah, this already checks out. He's great. So there is that. And then one last note here from Wallow thus far. It says, Tim, are you saying there was voter fraud in Georgia?
I mean, listen, like I said, I got the MyPillow guy looking into it. I'm not saying there was or there was not. I'm just saying there's some weird stuff. Look, I didn't even know we could mail in vote for this. I didn't even know that. Okay, if I would have known that, I could have generated a few more votes. I had no idea Kevin was going to do that. So there's lots of things to look into. But again, I support him. Best of luck to you, Kevin.
Can I say that between the two of you, I thought there would have been some stronger plays in terms of strategy. Like, I felt like your missed opportunity was not going to a retirement home and finding some old ladies and just being like, hey, I'm going to touch your finger on this phone. It has no bearings. It's actually going to get you more Medicare. Love that Medicare. Yay. Thank you. I have to go. Yeah, I'm not your son. And then I thought Kevin should have really, in his heart of hearts, been going to salons, had the towel in the hair, and then been making nice with the ladies and just gabbing with them and being like, I know, he's the worst. I've got one just like him. Anyway, do you have like a Venmo? Oh my God, can you Venmo? Oh my God, I accidentally voted. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to abuse your phone like this, but those were two areas that I thought for sure you guys would have racketed up more votes. But it did get interesting to see on Tim's little group channel he has for Inside BJJ saying, Kevin Biden has come back very strong. He's trying to steal his election. And the weird part is I was like, I don't know if Kevin's in that group channel, but I sure as hell am. And I laughed my ass off. And I was like, I could like this because I'm not voting, but I can definitely appreciate that on the post.
It took all of my decency to not vote from the Bullpen Instagram account for myself. I was this close to doing it. I'm like, I'm just going to go vote for myself from the Bullpen. Like, no, okay. I can't do that. That's not fair. I have integrity, Kevin.
I mean, don't throw that at him. We know he doesn't have it. But just to kind of close up this Gordon thing, I would say this. What bugged me more than anything else, because I saw this when we brought up the Gordon is revealed. Like, this is supposed to be from his I cheated and who cares steroids abuse video, which is weird because you would think that steroids don't need a publicist, but they've hired Gordon 24/7. And I think the weirdest part about that is it's not even a steroids are necessarily good for you. It's just how dare you attack steroids as a means of getting a win. Because this whole perspective of, well, they're not illegal is a strangely void argument that just is justifying, hey, listen, I couldn't do it without them. Like, that's really the core argument that happens with this is I couldn't do them without them. And if that's the case, you try to make the argument, I was beating these people before steroids, and then suddenly I just needed to do them for some reason. I don't know why. So it's a very strange and dumb argument.
Yeah. It was a weird video, too. It felt like the Kevin Spacey video that he put out when he was like in front of the fireplace. Like, why did he even do this, man?
I think it's because we're in an age where if OJ had released the If I Did It video in today's era, a lot of people would be like, he should have done it. I've come around. OJ, I hear where you're at. There you go.
You're killing me today, dude.
Just listen, dude.
I like a little pissed off rap, dude. I would say, trick,
you know what was very sad when I was looking back at my clips is I realized some of my best work is when I'm fucking angry. And I just look at it and I go, it's not even that you guys mind, because I try to think like, oh, I shouldn't be mean to them. They didn't do anything. But it's always you guys slightly poking the bear and encouraging me getting a little more mad, and then like watching what happens. But I think the first time both of you saw, there's a clip, and I'm not sure if it makes my top 10, but there was a clip of me during ADCC week where inevitably a lot of stress is happening, and I'm not sure if you guys realized if the response I had to an audience member that was in the comment section was me being stressed or comedic. And I gotta say, it's more comedic than it was angry, but it sure could have looked like it fooled both of you. Because when I saw the full video, I saw you guys going like, I don't know if I'm gonna talk to Raf for a minute. And I go, I don't think that should be the point. But it was some audience member that goes, I think they were saying like less talking about friendship and more play-by-play. And I just very quickly responded, hey, moron, if you could tell that the friendship played a role in the way they were competing, maybe you would understand the storyline, but you don't. So instead of telling us how to do the fucking show, sit back and welcome on this free version. And I'm pretty sure we got a dislike right after that happened, but a lot more likes after that. And the look that I saw from Kevin was like, is this what I signed up for? And I was like, nah, you're fine. This is just, I don't think you guys want this all the way full. Unhinged Draft could be a show of all its own. Yeah. I don't know how good that is for my like, actual health, but I will always do something for our audiences. We'll stop here and ask this question. What is your thoughts on Kron when he said about how it's taking the same direction of cycling? Tim, I'll let you have first crack at that.
I disagree with that. I don't think it's just like cycling's the only sport in that sense. I think this is really hard for the public to accept, but most, sports have issues with guys trying to cheat, and some guys get caught and some guys don't. And I know it sucks because it goes against this sense of fair play that we have going into sports and that we're all raised with when you do sports. But when the stakes get high, people do scandalous stuff. And so I don't think that it's going any particular way. I think all sports are like this when there's not stringent testing, and even the stringent testing isn't usually enough to weed it out. But I don't know. I just think it's weird that they celebrate it so much. I'm not even super against people using peds for whatever, like if they're adults, but if you're if you're in a sport where it's allowed and you're like openly bragging about it and you know that it still has like a very unpleasant taste in people's mouths, it's kind of like, what are you doing? I guess it's just for likes. I don't know. But I think, Crone has the same beef that everybody else has. So, but I don't think it's going the direction of cycling.
I mean, Crone has a lot of theories. We can start with that. I think in this particular case, it's one thing to do it. It is another to then look at people square in the face and be like, how dare you tell me I can't do it? I can do whatever I want. And you go, okay, yeah, it's true. You can make choices. But it's now just trying to shift the thought process of how we view steroids. And there is a culture shift. You can kind of feel it where 20 years ago, maybe even 40 years ago, people were like, nah, man, I'm all American. This is all I do is I just lift weights. Those Russians, they cheat. Now we're like, yo, how did those Russians cheat? And like, what was their stack? And what times did they do it? And how did they get around that? Because I feel like everybody wants the competitive edge. And I think the more recent version is, why wouldn't you do it? Like, if you want it that bad, why wouldn't you cheat or do something? And I think they're just trying to change the definition of what cheat is. It's legitimately Bill Clinton's, it depends on what the definition of is. And you go, wait, what? How does is change anything of you banging a fucking intern? So it takes a second here, but you get the idea, which is it's a PR campaign strategy. And for me, it's a, if you can't beat them, join them sort of approach to getting this out there. So I did notice this. It says, Dad always said in life, there's 3 fairs: the country fair, the state fair, and the world fair. I'm not sure how relevant that is to this particular discussion, but I am happy that it has been put in the public record. So thank you. And you know what? The weird part is there's no part of my voice that is Southern enough to give that the justice it deserves.
Yeah, that has to be read by a true Southerner, I think.
Like, that's something that Rogue says right before beating up Apocalypse in X-Men. Daddy always said in life there's 3 fairs: the country fair, the state fair, and the world fair, and then just knock somebody out. What's up, Cam? We talked about you a little bit earlier, sir, so I apologize if you go back and see what we had to say. Nonetheless, let's move on to our next topic, which is, Tim, this is another one that I'm not 100% sure what we're going here. You gave me almost 2 different directions on this prompt, and I need to kind of harness this down to one, because as I was looking at it, it started with, before we do awards next week, which we are, so next week we will do our best of 2024 countdowns of handing out some awards to some friends in the world of grappling. You said, can we each get a 2024 year-end gripe? So really, I'm just allowing you an opportunity to Festivus your way for 2024. So, sir, I'll put the camera on you and I'll put the time. I don't know what to expect here, but God bless and Godspeed.
Listen, you got to understand, man. I want to hear what you guys are going to say when I write these questions down. I'm like, what is Kevin going to say when he reads this? But listen, as a man of many words like I am, I do have several things to get off my chest, and I would like to use this opportunity to do it. The first thing is this. I don't want to hear about PEDs. I don't want to hear about pit walls, and I don't want to hear about pizza. 2024, that's what the grappling world is. Let's move on from it. It's cool. It's great. Let's move forward. 100%, right? I feel like there were some great things that happened, and then the problem with jiu-jitsu is that there's this whole other mindset that takes over where the student body becomes like a zombie. They're like, must have this, must have that. Let's move on from the pit walls. It was awesome, but I don't want to build one in my academy. I don't want to see every tournament with one. I think we're grown up enough to recognize a cool thing and have it in little bits and pieces. But as of that, let's go forward. And we talked about PED, so I'm done with that. And pizza, I wish Mikey Musumeci the best. I hope he turns it up in a major way like he wants to. But I don't want him to be the spokesperson for jiu-jitsu. I don't want to be the spokesperson for jiu-jitsu, but I don't want it to be him. I don't know who I want it to be. I think I want it to be Marcelo Garcia, but obviously he's not interested in it. But let's move on from that, man. So that was pretty much like where I'm coming from. I just want to train. And here's one more thing. Here's my advice to you athletes. Because look, we're living in a time when jiu-jitsu is professionalizing right before your very eyes. Some of you guys have competed in events that you didn't know were professional, but you acted like amateurs. You got to get your shit together. And I mean this in the best of ways, because there's some guys that are getting their shit together and they're moving forward and they're seeing bigger and better opportunities. You got to do that. You got to do more than dye your hair and wear funny clothes. That'll get somebody's eyeball for 2 seconds. You got to have something to say. You got to build relationships and treat it like you are a professional. There's giant things coming up, man. So the world is yours on that. But that's all I got, Raf. I want to hear what you have to say, because those were on my mind when I started thinking about the worst things of 2024 in jiu-jitsu for me personally. I'm very petty.
Okay. I'm glad that we had already touched upon some of these. I now realize what you were doing, which is not far off from my thought that sometimes this show is just you guys winding me up and saying what happens. So really, this topic is just, what are you pissed at, Raf? Which is a dangerous prompt to give me, I think, of any of us on this show. Because I'm not quite sure what I'm pissed at sometimes until I'm there. All right, let's find out. I'm going to put time on the clock. Let's see what I am pissed at. Tim, I have no idea. I was not literally in the mood. And you know what? I'd already gotten out some of my anger maybe about a minute and a half ago and was like, I think I've calmed back down. All right. And then I was like, Tim, what does this prompt mean? Like, what do you want from me? And it's like, I just want you to yell. Okay. Well, let's see how this goes. Time on clock. Boom. All right. And let us give me Godspeed to whatever comes out of my mouth. All right, let's see what happens here. Well, thanks, guys. 2024 has been an incredible year for jiu-jitsu. There's been great success, and for that, I'm pretty happy. But of course, I have my feelings and I have my thoughts, and I think that some things could be improved. What could be improved, or what did we learn from this year? Well, first off, we learned that people will bitch about grappling no matter what. And you know what's weird is, we don't have a unified rule set. We don't even agree sometimes, gi or no gi. But it looks like every once in a while, we just get into this realm where we wonder why we're not as big as other sports. Perhaps it's because we bitch about every single little thing. For example, hey guys, if we want to go to the Olympics, we have to have a unified rule set. Okay, great. Select a unified rule set. I hate EBI. Okay. I love ADCC. Okay. We need a pit. Sure. These are a lot of qualifications to just get excitement and traction. One thing I learned from this year is a new property like CJI can become the thing that 89 to 98% people rally behind. So if we do want to see some success, let's continue to stay behind them, because next year they are unopposed in ADCC. So I'd love to say we get more behind the things that we love as opposed to yelling about the things that we hate. We have fun here on the show, but I don't think you'd find most of us to be vindictive people who hate the things that we watch. In fact, if anything, we're usually rooting for it to be good, and most times it is not. So with that, I'd like to echo Tim's sentiment, which is, athletes, if you want it to be bigger, be more professional. That means showing up on time. That means not leaving message hosts on red when they're like, hey, when are we doing this interview? Because we're people too. That one's a more recent one. And then I'll say this. What is bugging me in the world of jiu-jitsu? We talked about steroids. You guys can get your shit together. It's time that we start actively just saying, it'd be nice if you could go to a tournament, a local tournament, and not worry if the dude you're competing against is on steroids, because we all joke about it. But now it's a legit thing in a combat sport where you can kind of get fucked up. So just saying. But the real thing I guess we should be looking at right here, guys, is this. If we want to be on TV, and you guys have opinions on other sports. I literally saw people bitch about Beyonce yesterday because they said it wasn't country enough, and I thought that's stupid. She got more views than the actual games. So all these little ancillary things that we're trying to do for jiu-jitsu, perhaps just literally try to get behind it, try to enjoy it, because if Beyonce was on our telecasts for our halftime at ADCC, nobody would even know what the fuck ADCC was. They'd be like, oh, you mean the Beyonce show? And I feel like we're at a space now where we're going to need to come up with creative things that get people to watch. But it does show you that at a sporting event, entertainment still is usually the biggest draw. And if that's the case, maybe we need to get a little bit more open. And I wouldn't be surprised if Craig is one of the first to crack that code. I'm going to Monday Night Raw on their premiere in LA for Netflix. And one of the things that they have is they have Travis Scott performing there. Do I need to see him? No. Do a lot of people like him? Yeah. Will it add some value to it? I think so. So I feel like CJI is almost the place where we probably will see some creativity happen. But by and large, I think grapplers can just stand to be a little bit nicer in 2025. You know, like, don't rush to always being an asshole. Is really what it comes down to. That's it. A little more cheer in your hearts. You do it for Christmas. You can do it for the rest of the fucking year. All right, that's what I have. Tim?
That was fantastic, Raf. This is exactly what I wanted. It was exact. That was beautiful.
Like, I don't know why you do this to me, because my doctor might be like, why do your blood pressure spikes happen all the time? And I go, it's the audience. They Tinkerbell me into anger. And then I just got to fucking go. It's just part of the gig. Nonetheless, we should now move on to a topic that I feel like you will be incredibly entertained by. So you said that we had a topic that you and I may feel has some controversy to it. I'm not sure if you meant this one, but our good pal Sebastian Attard was competing at the IBJJ-F, and in a moment of levity, pulled out the middle finger to his opponent, thus the bouquet in front of him right there. And the IBJJF said, yeah, you're banned for a year. Tim, I'd like to get your response to figuring out if that is the appropriate punishment for what he has referred to as a cheeky moment.
First of all, I didn't know that. When I read the byline, it just said that IBJJF Sebastian Attard's been suspended for a year. And I thought, oh, he got popped doing steroids. Like, sure. I don't know. That's just what I thought, right? He flipped somebody off and they banned him?
Yep.
What? Okay. This is also going to my gripe list. The IBJJF needs to stop announcing who's been suspended, because literally nobody cares. Like, it's like they've been set free. Like, nobody goes like, oh, man, I can't compete for IBJJF anymore. Damn. They're like, just now I don't have to make an excuse. I'm like, I'm banned. I won't be there, homie. Sorry. I'll be doing nogi. Dude, that's wild, man. I've seen a lot worse than that in an IBJJF tournament from athletes. And I think, to ban him for a year, I don't know, man. Is this his first infraction? I guess that's the other thing. I know he's cheeky. I know, as he said himself, he's funny. He's pretty good natured though. So I think banning him for a year is a little ridiculous, man. But on the same side, I don't even think he cares, man.
I tried to figure out this, Tim, which is I messaged him and I just told him, like, hey, man, I know that this has some implications for you, but I am so entertained by this. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it is pretty funny. And I go, honestly, they freed you. Like, I don't know if you understand, but, like, this is a great calling card. Like, if I'm you, I'm running with it. And, I thought I was going to do something funny here, Tim. I thought I was going to put up a slogan that I came up with. And I actually pitched this to Sebastian. But I feel like if I put it up, it may not go well. I don't know if it docks us on the internet or whatever. But I'll just say it out loud because I feel like that's somewhat better. But I did pitch Sebastian a T-shirt that he could make. Because I was like, you should make some merch off of this. Went back and forth, and I go, nope, I got it. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, I literally just had it come to me. And he's like, okay, what is the prompt? I go, well, before I tell it to you, you have to tell me we split fucking profits if that's the case. And he goes, okay. Well, if it's that good, what is it? I go, I've been jiu-jitsu fucked. And he was like, fuck, dude. And he told me, he's like, yo, if I do make that shit, he goes, I will 100% split it with you. And I said, that's fine. Just let me know if you're going to take it, because I'm not saying I'm going to make it, but I'm not saying I'm not. So just the thought of wearing a shirt that comes down, I been jiu-jitsu fucked.
That'd be great.
I'm just saying. Because, I mean, listen, dude, you made a very nice pronouncement of saying it gets old seeing who is, like, getting more attention for getting banned by the IBJJF than winning it. And it's very strange because maybe there's just a group of people who don't like them. But I told him, I was like, dude, you know how weird it is that a few years ago, the IBJJF stopped credentialing freelancers, which essentially means if you don't have a major publication that you work for. I was like, well, I do independent, so I'm a freelancer. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we don't have any room. I go, okay, well, I would like to cover it. And I'm one of a handful of people who do cover it on a regular basis. Yeah, but no. So a couple of years later, I put up this post and I said, hey, guys, if they don't want to go out for you as freelancers, and I feel you guys as photographers, some of this is a source of income. It's not fair. I don't love it. There are other places to go, because the same thing happened to me. And somebody from the IBJJF got in the comments and was like, how dare you say this? And I go, what the fuck, dude? They're like, that's not even true. You didn't get credentials because I was like, listen, dude, I literally have still the notes that say we're at capacity. You're not a thing. And you go, okay, well, can you tell me anybody else who's doing as many interviews or as many photos or coverage? Like, I'm happy to do it, but you guys won't allow interviews, and now you do them yourselves, and they're not that good. But I guess what I'm saying to you is all the little things that I was pitching years ago, I was like, hey, it'd be cool if you did this. I just said on my thing, like, hey, guys, it's kind of weird that they do this. And if they're not going to treat you right, just believe in yourself and go somewhere else. And they're like, how dare you say this? And I go, what the fuck, dude? Get out of my comments, because I'm literally just telling someone, go somewhere else. And I still support your goddamn thing. Like, don't make it hard to like you is really what it comes down to. And that is where I feel like it is me seeing somebody like this and you go, a year? I mean, I get the part in there that says, all right, obscene gestures, keep the respect going. It just feels like a very dumb thing to have done to somebody.
You know what? If I was him, I would just double down and go, fuck it, ban me for life. Like, then I could be the guy that IBJJF's been banned for life. You know, banned in the IBJJF. Why not run with it,
man? This
is
what I should do. I should hit up the kid and tell him, because he's a pro wrestling fan, I should hit up Sebastian and tell him to go the Stone Cold route. Like, 100% middle fingers up. That becomes his 316 moment.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I see Brian sent us a note that says, TBF, Marigali Trailblazed getting DQ'd for the finger at Worlds. Another win for New Wave. I did forget about that one, dude. That's been a minute. Thank you for that. Stroll down memory lane. Jesus. It feels like 20 years ago. Thank you, Brian. We're going to move on here now to another topic, Tim. I think it's time that we set the record straight. Xmas came and went, and it makes me realize sometimes when you get certain gifts, you think, man, I wish I got this, or I wish I got that. And that prompted me to wonder, what are the best gifts for grapplers so that maybe next year you can get what you wanted instead of some socks, which, thank you, they're lovely. I'm just saying, you know, how about the real gifts? Tim, I come to you.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple ideas for gifts for grapplers. One is a gift. To be honest, I'll use both these gifts 100%. But the first one is specially made for guys like me. I'm talking about guys that have more hair on their back and their chests than they do on their head. And guys who basically are sweating on the way to class. Like, they haven't even got on the mats yet. They haven't even done the warm-ups. They already got, like, people drink pre-workout. They have pre-sweat. They're ready to go. I'm talking about a shash guard. And you might ask, what's a shash guard? A shash guard is a chamois rash guard. Chamois material, tight fitted as a rash guard to keep you dry. The biggest problem I have is I sweat like Fat Elvis, and it becomes a serious problem, mostly to my partners. I don't mind. I find it to be very freeing, and it's like taking a shower from the inside out. I really appreciate that and enjoy it. But the shash guard could save you getting ostracized in your gym as being the hairy, sweaty guy. You know, a gym has, and there's more coming, by the way. I've been finding more dudes like me, so I'd like to see that. The other thing is this, man. I want to see custom made excuse cards for grapplers, right? So this is like a card they can pull out. It goes like, I had too much pre-workout and I'm jittery, bro. They just put it back in. And then they pull another one out. I lifted heavy this morning, bro. I'm so sore, man. I can't even fucking move, dog. I just got over pneumonia. Sorry, bro. I can't do it. Like, and maybe you should be able to. You could use them, but you have to give them away, right? And then they're gone. You can't use that excuse again.
Tim,
those are my 2024 best gifts for grapplers.
I don't know that I expected to end the year with you becoming the world's best worst salesman. Like, some of these ideas are pretty much gold, but you're just coming out here. I'm not sure that it's the pitch that's killing it, but you going like, how about you guys, what do you think about some rash guards, but they're for the hairy people? You guys like those? I got 4 of them. I haven't sold any of them yet, but I think they'll go great with you guys. And then I got some cards I wrote. It's one that says, "You're welcome for the syphilis." What do you think about that? Yeah? You want to hand those to one of your buddies? I got 15 if you guys want them. Let me see what I can do here, because I don't know that I have anything better than just Tim's. Because you know what the worst part is? As you pitched them, I said, "Oh, Tim's probably missing his real calling in jiu-jitsu. You should be just making products." And then as you were explaining them, I go, "Oh, this is progressively getting worse with the explanation." He had me at the pitch and then progressively lost me as he was explaining it out. Nonetheless, I think some good stuff for grapplers is as follows. All right, so if I am a person looking to get a gift for Christmas, I think a few things. First off, I'm always wondering, like, what is it that you wish you had? Gis are cool. Rash guards are cool. I think what you can do is, maybe if you really want to get someone something special, you get them some open mat fees. Like, good for dropping into one open mat. Now, some of you guys are like, I never pay an open mat fee, which, by the way, rude. But then some of you are like, have you seen what it costs to go to AOJ? Like, that is the cost of a gi for some places. And I've even heard some places will charge you for a drop-in fee for the entire week, so that it's a kind of high price. So you're like, oh, you can come back anytime you want because you've essentially paid an open mat fee that's good for the rest of the week. And I think, that's actually not a bad gift to get. If somebody goes, hey, man, I got you that drop into Atos, and you go, oh, thank God. Woo. And then, if you think about it longer term, I think what you could do is, maybe for that one guy in the gym, maybe who's a little prone to injury, I think what you can do is get ahead of the GoFundMe. And what I mean is, you could probably just create a jar where you put in money for whoever's going to get broken, but you know the guy that's probably going to get broken. So you're essentially doing it so that way you don't have to do the anonymous donation. And more importantly, if you do the donation that tells everybody how much you did donate to that person, sometimes if they're your really good training partner and they see that you've only put in $20 in the pot, they might judge you, which in actuality should not happen. But in this area and this world, people will judge you for a low donation. So I'm feeling like those are the areas that you got to do. Worst case scenario, maybe you support them on some like Medicare or something. Like you just say like, hey, listen, we paid like 2 months of your healthcare bill because we need you to coach. Like, I feel like those are good gifts. And then I think the last one is a practicality of, I'm a big believer of you break it, you buy it. So I feel like a good thing to do in terms of getting ahead of things is to buy someone a knee brace who's got a healthy knee, because it's really your way of telling them, I'm looking to break that, but I've already bought you the brace to make sure you'll be okay afterwards. And I just think it's a classier way of grappling. So those would be my initial gifts to grapplers, I think, to give. And I have to thank Tim for his innovations that he came up with here, because Brian did very accurately say Tim's got to trademark those before Henner hears this.
Henner's probably already on it. He's filming the infomercial right now.
Ooh, actually, you guys, you don't even know this, but if you're sweaty, I've got the thing for you. This is completely from my brain and not from another podcast host, but in this version, it will make sure that you are not swishy for all of your badness. So.
I don't sweat.
I don't sweat, but I know some other people do, and that is going to be a game changer for you guys.
My brother Hedon is disgusting. I don't sweat.
I don't sweat, by the way. I don't sweat is the equivalent of the girls. I don't fart.
Yeah,
no,
I don't sweat.
I don't sweat is 100% something I would pull. All right, Tim, we're going to go to a surprise, which I have to say backfired on me, because these were supposed to be a surprise for someone who's not here. So I need your help on this one, because I think you need to help me figure out, are we going with video A or are video B the more likely to be something that we should really put out there and plug? Because I was sent these videos, I don't know if I want to say in confidence, but sort of like you do a ransom note. Like you're supposed to put this on air, and my journalistic integrity says, all right, Tim, be prepared for it, okay? So I guess the first question is, are you prepared for this?
I am prepared for it, yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm not quite sure exactly how this will play, but we're going to go full screen with audio. Godspeed. Oh, nope, that is not it. So it is not playing currently. Is that what it is? Let me just double check here. Okay. So it said it was going to play and it did not. So I'm going to pull it back in. And Tim, when we look at this, I need you to understand that I'm incredibly nervous by it for a number of reasons, because it has major implications as to what may or may not be happening in the near future. So I hope that you are prepared for it. So I'm actually going to build out another scene. I'm going to move real quick, though, back to one, which is we have Xmas Surprise, Fight, and Gallery coming up next. So before we get to those, I do have one prompt that I want to give you while I put this video up, Tim, which is, which teams, I'll come up with this one next week for sure, but I wanted to give you the first crack at it, which is build me one dream team, even though they don't allowing dream teams at CGI, but give me one dream team that you would like to see at the next CGI 2.
Okay. And this is quintet style or quartet? 4 or 5, do we know?
It's 5 is what I've heard.
Is it overall weight? I know I'm getting too specific, but
no, they have individual weights that they're supposed to be, apparently.
Okay, so I'll just go, let's say I'll go UFC weight classes.
Okay.
And see if I can remember the weights of all these dudes, because believe it or not, I enjoy watching it, but I don't obsess over it. You're like, that's not true. My wife's in the background laughing. Let's see. Well, you know, I want, because I'm an honest person, I want Mikey Musumeci on my team. And I don't know what his weight is, but we're going to put him at 155. We're just going to say he's 155. He's 155 to me. I don't know if either of the... let me ask you this. You're helping me while you're working, but can we get a Tackett or Ruotolo brother down to 170? That's the question.
Are you willing to cut off part of their limbs?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Okay. So they're too. Okay. So too big for 170. Who am I gonna slide in there at 170? I know I'm missing somebody real obvious, but let me circle back to 170. At 185, I would like to go with.
All right, Tim, I've given you enough time. We're now going to go straight to the thing that I was waiting to do. All right.
I knew I was just filling air.
No, you're
God,
good. You're good. We'll come back to this one again, but I do want you to understand this video, it needs to be particularly heard, so I'm hoping, I'm going to check one last thing here to make sure the audio comes in, because normally we just do stuff that is like video play without the sound. This one's a particular one we need the sound, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
KEVIN SHERRILL, I just had an interview with the CEO of Handsomeness, and he said, you're out. I'm willing to put the crown on the line in a grappling match. Me versus you. Thank you. Sorry about that. KEVIN SHERRILL, I just had an interview with the CEO of Handsomeness, and they said you're out. Now I'm willing to put the crown on the line in a grappling match. Me versus you. Stop ducking me.
Back to us. All right. So you have thoughts. Go ahead and share your first, sir.
This is young Ben, am I right?
Yep.
Okay. Two versions of the same jackass, basically, is what we're seeing. Sure. I like the first video because that is like the aggressive young, I'm calling you out, I'm standing up, I'm posturing, I'm talking faster, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm aggressive and I'm angry. The video B, he has moved past that in life. He now sits down when he does interviews. He's not going to stand up. He's got nothing to lose. Everyone already know he's video B is if he is the handsome title holder. Video A is like, it's up for grabs. We've decided it's no longer you. We're not sure if it's me. We got to decide. Video B is, it's already been decided. I am the most handsome. I'll put it up on the line for you. And I'm also getting a handsome sum of money to do this. Hence why I'm reading off of a script. But I like video B, but that's what I got for you.
See, I'm a believer in video A, because video A is all about the, hey, I'm great, you can too. Today, I want to talk to you about this. Like, when he sent it to me, I was driving and I almost fucking wrecked another car because I was like, what the fuck is this? And there's nothing funnier than saying, hey, I just talked with the CEO of Handsomeness. You're out. Because the line read is so perfectly infomercial out. That I said, I was like, what are you doing? Because he sent me this. The first text that happened was, hey, Raph, can I send you something? I'm working on something real serious right now. And I go, okay, sure. And then I read it and I look and I go, okay, we'll play the video. The video plays and I immediately see him being this character, which is, hey. And then I thought, you're in a black suit as well? Oh my God, this is perfect. But then the second one is more this guy, which is, hello, I have opportunity for you if you want now. Great. Meet me at this time and my demands.
Yeah.
So,
I was digging that vibe. That was good.
The response, we'll take this question, or not even question, but we'll put this comment up first, which is, dude is emo, not even in the handsome ballpark.
Oh, wow.
Which, Wallow. Spicy.
I disagree, Wallow.
I think you gotta pull that one back, sir.
Yeah, man. That's that. Yeah, come on, Wallow.
But
how dare you?
What are the implications here, Tim? Because this was not something you or I put up. And if anything, what prompted it was me putting it on my top list, which I thought was a funny moment. And now, you know, this kid is coming out guns blazing to somebody that we've seen share a fucking vote. 400 times in 20 group chats. What do you think he's going to do? Like, what exactly? Oh, no. Oh, no. He found his way on here, too. It says Kevin Duck Sherrill. This dude has been in the comment section the whole time waiting for this moment. So what are the implications here? And two, Tim, Kevin is not here right now. Does it not only affirm Ben's claim that he is a duck?
Oh, no. I'm going to tell you what it affirms. I love you, Ben. This is why I said you were a jackass in both videos. Handsome Kevin Sherrill is a mean-spirited, petty individual. He will not let this slide. You already called him out in Las Vegas. And I pulled him aside and I said, Kevin, do not hurt this child. We are here for work, not for you to hurt somebody. I know that you're jonesing to roll, and I know he called you out. I get it. I get the law of the streets, dog. I like you. But you got to let this one go. So he had mercy on you. But you've come back, and you've asked for more, not with one video, but with 2 videos, and you've invaded his comment section on a day he's not even in his own house. Ben, Kevin's going to come. He's going to bring all hell with him, man. He's going to have the Ardila brothers running behind him. He's going to have Ernesto with the dude. They're coming, dude. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't wait to watch it, though. Strong move by young Ben. You got my respect. I'm grabbing the Redenbacher, man, because it's popcorn time.
Hold on. I'm just in the middle of planning out his funeral. I was like, putting out an image of him to put on a flyer. Anyway, we have the program ready. Let me point this out. You do see that Tim is bringing up some good notes here, and these are very strong things to consider, but I'm all for it. Let me tell you why. Don't listen to anything Tim just said. You live your life. Talk to a real one. Ref, right here. Okay, Tim says he's from the streets, but he hasn't been from the streets for a while. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the ones that got out. He got the Jefferson kind of thing where living up duplexes in the sky. He's living a good life. I need you to be connected to the streets for this reason. 1, I want you to live in this character. 2, I want you to Goldilocks your way through this. You came into this man's house and said, nah, this one's too small. This one, not right. No, I'm not feeling it. Like, you came in here, I would have probably given you the 3rd host seat today because I didn't know Kevin was going to show up, but you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And right now you have pointed out that Kevin is not here. That does prove he is a duck. Now, will you lose your life? Uncertain. But will it be fun watching? Yes. Here's why. Because Ernesto will call out things against you even when Kevin's winning. And I think that's going to be fun to watch. Like, Ernesto is going to be yelling at the refs, being like, hey, he's not even trying to engage right now. Look at this guy. And it's like, dude, you're already getting your face cranked. Like, what more can you do? 2, 3. Kevin's already got lawyers, so he's going to go very aggressive at you, not just physically, but mentally. That's good TV. 4. This was originally supposed to be a home run derby. Each of us were supposed to take an at-bat. Tim, I come back to you now and say, do you even want your at-bat now that this has gotten so deep?
Oh, with Ben? Yeah, I'm still going to get mines. I'm still getting mines, dude. Me and young Ben got a date. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing what Kevin does to him. And then I'm going to jump in and get mines. Hell yeah. I'm not passing that up.
I like that you're like, but think about the children. Oh, I will fuck him up, though. I'm good with that. And it says here, as a new member of the board, Kevin is laughing and will not entertain this nonsense. See, I think, Wallow, that's where you're wrong. Kevin will entertain all nonsense. Like, I know that you say he'll think he's above it, but that's not the Kevin Sherrill way. The Kevin Sherrill way is to be as petty about everything as possible, just so that you can always be unbothered. It's a very strange approach, but it's what he does. Tim, do you have any more things you would like to say about this, or perhaps some advice for young Ben?
I mean, look, Ben, keep doing what you're doing. What you're doing is working. You start with a guy like Kevin, and to be honest, you don't even got to beat him. You just got to be entertaining, and then you start picking at somebody new. You you can be our AJ Agazarm.
Wow.
JK, it's all jokes. AJ, you know I'm kidding. I got much love for everybody. But Kevin, keep it up. I think you should run with it. It's a strong move. And once you play the card, you gotta play the whole hand now, dude. So you're in it to win it. And know this, I will be highly entertained.
So, can I tell you how I see this playing out, Tim?
Yes.
I did like a quick version of this. I thought that what we do is if we do the super fight again, we build it out, and then I'm going to turn on Kevin. I'll be Ben's coach. And because I expect fully Ben to lose, when he does lose, I'm going to come over and mock slap him and then like voice disappointment. So the camera will like pan from Kevin who's winning to like me, like, and then I walk over to Kevin's and then I become part of the team there. Because once I did it, I was like, you know, it would be glorious for us to play this up in all of its ways, but with the full understanding of inevitably what it will look like. So I do love the fact though, I put down surprise. And then Kevin's like, hey, man, something came up. I can't come. And I go, well, I already made the board. I'm not changing that. So yeah. I would have loved to have gotten his response first. I guess the question is, do we put the clip of it up or do we hold it until we know we see him again so that we can prove he didn't actually pay attention to the show that he's not on?
Well, I mean, it would be nice to get the clip up and for him to see it. And we want to get the juices stewing, but we don't want him to shoot his load during the week. We want him to save it for the next episode.
And if there's one thing about Kevin Sherrill, you know, he will shoot his load unprompted anywhere.
Heard it here first.
Absolutely. Why don't we go now to our fight of the week? Tim,
yes.
I am very glad you picked this one because this is one I've actually seen before, but it's been a minute. And it's funny because sometimes when I'm going through the internet, I'll see something and I go, oh, is Tim going to pick this one? And I don't want to interfere with the process. I think this is your art. And I just always hope for the best. And then when I saw that this one was coming into the fold, I said, oh, this is a glorious one. So, Tim, I'm going to put this up here in a second, and I'd love for you to walk us through it. But as only you can, sir, what exactly are we about to see?
So, you know, I don't mind seeing clips where people get laid out, but I like seeing people fight but not get hurt. It's hilarious to me. It's one of the funniest, especially regular people.
No, Tim
if
likes
it's fighters,
the Looney Tunes versions of shit where it's like,
yes.
I want Bugs Bunny to hurt Daffy Duck, but that everybody knows he's fine afterwards.
Yes, I like to see people like swing and fall and hurt themselves. I like to see people slip on banana peels. That's the funniest stuff because that's like life going, you think you're such a badass? You're not a badass. You can't even avoid a banana peel, dog. This is one of those fights. This is a gangland war brawl where absolutely nobody really gets hurt.
Okay. Well, with that, why don't you walk us through this fight? I'll start to play it right now.
This almost feels like an old-timey fight. So blue hat guy is throwing hands, and he's picking on this other gentleman, and he pushes him down. You sit over there. You got to sit in the red chairs. And now this other guy who's an Oakland A's fan is kind of laughing, and they're razzing him a little bit. But you could see hurt guy got up, and he's like, oh, hell no, not in my plaza. So he's hunting him down, and they're trying to hold blue hat guy back. And blue hat guy's like, I'm going to go away. And then little guy goes, here, have a beer before you go. And hat guy running kicks him, which is a controversial technique. They're both decide to do some dancing. And little man's holding on good, but it's hard to stand up when you get thunked in the head. And he eats some pavement.
All right.
That's the fight, man.
Let's take a minute here because when I replay this, I need people to understand where I'm coming from. And it's from a good place. But I want to tell you guys my slight aversion to this. Okay. I'll tell you why I like it, which is it does seem similar to the little people pro wrestling. So it does seem kind of like we're laughing at marginalized people, but who are empowered because they get to do it in a scene that appreciates them for what they do, but gets shared on the internet because we're terrible people. But what I was going to say originally before I watched it again was, who gave you scenes from my family? How dare you, sir? And then it made me realize how many of my family's clips could 100% be on this show now that I see this happening live and in real color. So let me go ahead and play it for you just to kind of give you my take on this one, but I'll walk you through my thoughts. First of all, the slap here, gangster. Because most people won't understand. This is the slap that lets people know, like, hey, bud, I'm serious about this. You need to chill the hell out. Okay?
Fixed his hat first, too.
Obviously, there's a beer on the floor. And not just any kind of beer, Tim, a 40, which tells you choices were made. And I don't think that's the only one that happened that night. But can we acknowledge the Dick Tracy car that's in the background, by the way? Because that's a hidden element to this whole thing that tells you everything you need to know about this family. Is that window missing? Yep. Do they still take it out and drive it? Most certainly. Does it have insurance on it? I'm sorry, what? Anyway, we move on now. And this young boy coming over to pick up the beer bottle is the most Mexican thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is childhood for me. I feel it. He grabs it. And he doesn't want it to go to waste. But now, Cap Hat pushes him back and lets him know, listen, bud, you go sit in those kids' chairs and you leave me the hell alone. But I got to tell you, as he's fish out of water flopping off of that chair, which is glorious in its own right. Take a look at this kid. Now, granted,
Gangster.
You look at this and think he was being the innocent kid, just picking it up, picking up the pieces. I actually think he picked it up as a weapon now that I see that posture is happening. That kid is ready to go. So A+ to him. Now, lines are drawn in the sand. Family members are choosing sides. And you see Cowboy Hat here is trying to maintain the peace. But of course, Mexican Curious George can't keep the peace for long, as everybody has a side. And you think to yourself, all right, this is good. Wait, did you just throw that Coors Light at me, you dick? How dare you? And can we talk about how overflowed that trash can is? That trash can never stood a chance in this world. And yet, it's not going to go anywhere because, kick to the ass. That's great. He misses the mark. But now it's a Theo off, and it's a carne asada between two Theos who are very angry. Each other did not compliment how the asada turned out that night. Now, I got to tell you, I didn't think coming into this that Blue Hat was going to be such a kicker. I didn't have him pegged as that. But one strategy that we may be not utilizing as much as we should in the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA is the hold on to your opponent. Like, this dude might have fallen 12 times, but instead made it a point to grab onto the quote-unquote gi of his opponent just for his own posture. Like, dude, I'm going to fall. And then is taking some hits. Could probably drop Sayanagi this guy if he really wanted to, but I think is also struggling just to keep things standing. And if you guys want to see the next Jake Paul, Mike Tyson kind of fight, this is really it for Mexicans, honestly. So he's struggling. Curious George in the background took a hit for God knows what.
He chucked a beer at the very end. Did you see that?
He did.
You're the cause of all of our problems.
It is a glorious addition to the world. It makes me so happy because it's the perfect Christmas video to watch. So, Tim, you did a great job in finding this one. I can't say enough good things. And I feel like we're all honored to have seen that one.
You pointed out some really fantastic things. I did not catch the kid that picked up the bottle. And then I try to be quiet when you're talking, but he was just standing there like he turned into Wolverine or something. He was like another dude. He's like Los Lobo. He's like, he's ready, man. It's like, damn.
You know what it is? It's the moment a kid watches their dad die in an action movie and is just like, My dad died. I will avenge his death. And you go, okay, great. And instead, you see the kid literally becoming a villain very quickly.
That was great.
Woo! Okay. So, Tim, let's kind of very quickly talk out. What are we doing next week? Because this week, obviously, was our last official regular show of the year, which has been an incredible year, by the way. But next week, we have some business to attend to. So what are we doing next week?
So next week, we are going to be handing out our awards. So we're going to have our awards for 2024. And I would say if you've watched this show before, you can expect some serious awards and maybe some not so serious awards and maybe some out of the blue awards. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I've never done this before. I've never done awards before, but that's what I would be expecting. So I think it's going to be a great time. I've been really looking forward to this show coming up.
I am a huge awards guy. We've done awards in the past for other incarnations of my shows. But it's usually a nice way of acknowledging some people and then, you know, appropriately categorizing some less than great moments in jiu-jitsu, which I think needs to happen every once in a while. So you guys are really the trial process for this because I was considering, I was like, do we do it end of the year? Do we do it during the Oscar season, like handing out awards there? So you guys are going to help us research and develop this concept, but I do know I want to hand out awards. So there is that. So the boys will be here. Kevin will be here. Oh, he will. We will make sure of it. But I will tell you this. That's part of it. And you guys can catch every single day. We've been counting down our favorite moments of the year. And I have to tell you, Tim, you know, this show didn't exist in February of this year. It barely existed in March of this year. And to think about the way in which the show has developed has been incredible in such a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, it really has. It took off pretty quick. It became apparent to me really quickly that I really enjoyed working with you. And I think we were given some good opportunities and some others we weren't given. You know what I mean? But we took we made the best out of the ones we were given. The ones we didn't give, we fucking went in and took it. You couldn't keep us out. You tried it. You couldn't. So yeah, dude, I think we did pretty good this year, to be honest. I'm very proud of the work.
Go that route. I love the idea. You could have just said we had some great opportunities, and then instead, in true Festivus fashion, it was like we got some opportunities, and then we didn't get some, and we haven't forgotten those. You bitch. Like,
I got to get it all out.
It's fine. It's good. It's very therapeutic, I think. But I love the fact that I'm like, Tim, say some nice things about the year. Oh, I've got some things to say, Raph. Like, oh, okay. You know, I do too, but I was very much on the uppers on that one. I would tell you this.
No, me too. It was a good year. It was awesome.
I would tell you the incredible work that has been done here by all of our friends and panelists. It did not go unnoticed. And like everybody here believes in this and really does put in a great effort. And you know, that extends all the way from Matt Scaff, who was on our first show, to Jake Watson, that was with us for a bit, and now Kevin Sherrill, who has very quickly fit in and assimilated. So we've had some friends come in and act as panelists as well, and that has been a lot of fun. So we've definitely been very excited about what we've done this year. But don't worry, next year we have very, very ambitious plans for where we'd like to go. So that just really, if we want to go further, it's going to be a lot of you guys sharing our stuff, liking it, making sure that we get people to see our good stuff. And so feel free, share those clips, tell people you like the show if you do, and always be very kind on likes and subscribes, not just to me at the Grappling Hour, but also at Tim, because Tim does some great stuff. And it says, you guys are sick, always a good time. Thank you so much. And then I want to point this out. Dean Silver picking up a comment right toward the end.
This is like
Bodoni started looking unstoppable in 2024 until he went for a double gold in absolute. Looked like the losses to Cyborg and Dante.
What is he talking about?
Were about fatigue.
What are we talking about? This is what's so great about jiu-jitsu, Rap.
Yeah.
that we could have a dude jump into the end of the show, make a comment about jiu-jitsu. We didn't even talk about this stuff. This is why I love it.
Well, okay, a couple things could happen here, Tim. Maybe he's watching the earlier part of the show where we were talking about steroids. Not that that would apply to anybody in that conversation.
Okay, maybe.
But the fact that it's toward the end of the show, as you and I are both like, it's been a great year, and somebody goes, yeah, about that. You know, Giancarlo's been looking a little soft, I think, lately. And you go, bro, I was ready to call it a day. But can I just say this, though? Even worse than that, it's the premeditated comment that somebody has coming in that has no relevance. You know that they're in the shower. They're just like, man, Giancarlo's been looking real weak. I hope there's a show I can talk about this with. Oh, man. All right, let's see. Oh, these yahoos. What are they talking about today? Nah, fuck that. Hey, listen, Giancarlo, loser or not? Do we like him? Is he cool? Nah, fuck this guy. So, Dean, I could tell you this. Giancarlo's looked pretty solid, all things considered, and has won ADCC twice now. So I don't know how washed you can be. If you win ADCC twice, granted, asterisk year, womp womp, I still think Giancarlo would have done really well if CJI wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Sport. So
hell yeah.
I mean, respect to him. He's a really nice guy, and I do like him a lot. But
yeah, he
you
is.
Win it twice. I think at that point, you've gone to the mountain twice. You're just seeing what the view looks like, and you're just trying shit out at that point. So props to him. And the same thing with JT Torres. JT Torres has only won twice. Oh, the worst. Like, dude, JT Torres went out early, and yet still a beast. Like, cannot take that away from him. So just saying, win twice, you can do some fun stuff. But Dean, thank you very much for whatever that is, and we appreciate you. But yes, anyway, Tim, tell the people where they can find you, good sir.
You can find me at InsideBJJ.com, Inside BJJ on all your social media platforms. If you're out in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're out in Stockton, go see our sister school, 10th Planet Stockton. It's been a great time catching up with you, Raf. I feel like I've run through a lot of great, funny things, and I feel like I really enjoyed Angry Raf coming out of the gate hot, dude. I should have sensed it. The mood was a little tense right in the beginning, and I was messing with my audio, and I'm like, I don't know, I need time. And you're just like, take your time. I'll be ready. It was great stuff, man. It's always good catching up with you, man.
I know. I mean, you guys say that now, but I feel like you're going to run into a time where it's not charming and entertaining. I think the weirdest part about it is a fine line of like, this is fun, Raf. And I go, I think so. I hope you guys don't take any of this too personally or seriously. So you hope that things go well. Tim, great work this year. Fantastic all around. You have made this incredibly, incredibly fun to do. And I've been very happy to have some other pals come in. And Kevin, wherever you are, you should have been here. Nonetheless, stuff comes up. We love you, buddy. Great work this week as well. Like, Kevin's a beast. He is a very good addition to the show. And I feel like now we have the show. So now that we have the show, we're going to continue to refine it, make things even better. And I'm very excited about the stuff that we have in store for 2025. Just to let you guys know, we mapped out a few goals for what we'd like to do in the next year. And a lot of that is going to be contingent on you guys sharing it, liking it, and as much as you can do that, give us the support. We're very excited about the Running the Gauntlet semifinals that'll be coming up. We'll be doing some episodes for that in the near future. And then just to let you guys know, if you want to check us out, head to patreon.com/grappling hour. Check out my stuff. We have some killer interviews. Just got Hanato Canuto. We got Matt Mosh. We're about to do Valerie Wong, but we've gotten some major ones. I just interviewed with Brady Hong. I just did a one yesterday with Albert Morales, who was in the UFC and just won at the Up Next. And we also have Alan Sanchez. That's a great interview that we did as well. So we have so much content going, but that's really only happening for those who are Patreon members. You guys will see it free in a month, which womp womp, because you're poor. But those things are great. And be on the lookout for our top 10 list, not just here for the Bullpen, but we're doing top 10 moments for Grappling Hour and the top 10 guests, which is a widely coveted prize because those motherfuckers are very competitive. And I've already gotten words like, am I on the list? And I go, I'm not telling you. So you guys will be surprised. Those will all be revealed all the way up into the new year. Anyway, appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for all of your love and a great 2024. We will see you in the new year when we look back as our first order of business at 2024. That seems long, but you know, is what it is, scheduling. We love you guys. Thank you so much for a great year. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.